Hello my people, welcome to another tutorial. My name is Agnes. In today's tutorial we are going to be making this Elizabeth cardigan. It's made using the Elizabeth stitch or the mini bean stitch, which is very textured. I love that texture so much. It is quite an oversized cardigan, but you can size down on this if you like, or go a size higher, depends on what you love. I will be showing you how you can take measurements and make it in different sizes too. So it is the written pattern is available on my Etsy shop if you like to check that out. I will leave the links in the description box and in a pinned comment as well. So thank you so much for those who support me, and let's get into it. So for the yarn, I am going to be using this yarn from Volido. It's called Mika. It's 51% acrylic and 49% cotton. It is a size 2 yarn, and it recommends a 2 to 4 millimeter hook size. I used 3 colors, so the chocolate, this color here, and also the cream. So I used 3 balls of this color, like a blush pink, and then cream I used 2 balls, not all 2, but like 1.5, and then the chocolate I used 10 of those, so it's like 15 balls for this extra small. It's like an oversized cardigan. So you can use any other yarn size or type, depends on what you like. For the hook size, I'm going to be using a 4.0 millimeter hook. The yarn recommends 2 to 4, but I will use 4. I'll go with the highest. And then you're going to need a tape measure, scissors, and a darning needle. So this is how we are working this cardigan. We'll start with a foundation chain. Foundation chain, which is your bust measurements minus 10 inches. All right, so for me, foundation chain will be, my bust is 33. I will chain 23 inches. Okay, so it's bust measurements minus 10 inches. And we are going to be chaining a chain of multiples of 4, which is 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, until you have your measurements. It can be 1 inch or half an inch more or less. So once you have your foundation chain, then we are going to make the back panel. So the foundation chain is the width of the back panel. So we will work from bottom all the way until we have our back panel. Once we have our back panel, then we will work our front panel, and we're going to be leaving 4 inches for the neckline. So this is 4 inches for the neckline, and then we'll just continue working one part until we have the same number of rows as the back. And then once we are done with that, we'll come again, reattach our yarn, and then go ahead and finish the other part of the front panel. So we are leaving 4 inches here. So we are not doing front back different panels, it's just one panel, and we will separate it here. And once we are done with that, then we'll do the sleeves. And for the sleeves, we are going to measure around our biceps. So from here to here, this is our sleeve circumference, and it's going to be our biceps plus 4 inches. So biceps plus 4 inches, mine is 9.5. When I measure around my biceps plus 4, that's 13.5. So that will be my sleeve width. And then the length is just from your biceps to your wrist. And yeah, so once you have that, then we will just fold this, then join it together and work the ribbings. That's it. So we are going to start with the foundation chain. You already know how many inches you need to do because you measured yourself and you subtracted 10 inches from your bust. And I'm going to make a sample because I want to show you the stitch. I don't want to chain all my 23 inches. So we are going to start with multiples of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I will just do a sum of 16 because that's multiples of 4. So it's 4 plus 4 plus 4, or you can get a number that divides by 4 and the remainder is 0. Simple math. So you're going to skip for row 1. So once you have your chain, you're going to skip these first 3 chains from the hook, and then you're going to make your first mini bean stitch in the 4th chain. So skip 1, 2, 3 chains from the hook, and then into the 4th chain you are going to insert your hook like this. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops, and then you yarn over again, insert your hook in that very same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through all 4. Okay, and then you're going to chain 1. So that is a mini bean stitch. Then you chain 1 and you skip 1 chain, and into the next chain you make a mini bean stitch, which is like an incomplete single crochet, then yarn over and an incomplete half double crochet, then you have 4 loops and pull through all 4. All right, and then chain 1, skip 1, and just repeat. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you have 4 loops on the hook, and then pull through all 4. Then chain 1. Don't forget to chain 1 and then skip. So you're going to repeat that until you get to the end, and I will see you there. So chain 1, you have to remember to chain 1. So when you get to the end, you have 2 chains remaining, skip 1, and in the last chain make your mini bean. Don't forget to chain the 1. Make a mini bean in the very last chain. Like that. And then you're done with row 1. So now for row 2, you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to turn your work like that, and then you're going to skip the very first mini bean stitch, and then into the chain 1 is where we're going to be working. So we're going to be working in between the mini bean stitches. So you're just going to go into this chain 1 here and make a mini bean stitch like that, and then chain 1 and go into the next chain space, which is between these 2, and make a mini bean stitch. Chain 1 into the next chain space, a mini bean stitch, and you're going to work like that until you get to the end of your row. Of course yours is much bigger, then I'll see you. All right, so when you come to the end, you have 1 mini bean stitch, and then you have this chain 3. So you're going to go between the mini bean stitch and the chain 3, and that's where you're going to work your last one. All right, so in there you'll work your last mini bean stitch like that. Yeah, and now you're just going to keep repeating this row 2, so which means you chain 3 to start your row 3, and then make a mini bean between the 2 mini bean stitches. You skip the first one, and then into the very first chain 1, that's where you make your mini bean stitch. Chain 1, going to the next chain space, mini bean stitch, chain 1, going to the next chain space, and it works up very fast, you know. After this it's just a repeat and it's very fast, so you're just going to keep repeating row 2 until you have the length of your back panel. Depends on how long you want your sweater to be. It can be short, it can be long, all the way down, depends on your preference. Mine is right below my bottoms, my bum, so yeah, depends. All right, I'll see you when you have your back panel, and then we can start on the front. So once you have the length of your cardigan, it should look something like this. I changed colors. I was doing 3 colors, and I was cutting at every time I wanted to change a color, I would cut the yarn and then reattach the new color. So it was that quite simple. And as you can see, I now have 24 inches, so it increased by like an inch, depends on your tension. It can increase like 2 to 3 inches, 1 to 3 inches. We are going to be leaving 4 inches in the middle for the neckline, so which means since I have 24 on each side, I will have 10 for the front panels and then 4 for the neckline. Okay, so you will need stitch markers for this one to mark where your front panels will start. Mine will start here and end at 10 inches, and then I'm going to count all the stitches on one side, then do the same so that I have the same number of stitches on the other side, and then put a stitch marker. Your stitches on each panel should be the same. So what I have in the middle is 4 inches, and it's going to be 4 inches for every size. That's what we are leaving in the middle. Okay, so our only difference will be on the side. So then once you have that, you're going to just continue working until you get to your first stitch marker. This is where you will end. The pattern is the same, and once you have your first front panel, then I'll come show you how we start on the second front panel. And this is how my first one looks like. It's the same pattern, just on a just smaller. You're working only up to where your stitch marker is. Okay, all right, so here we are, and now we were working this row of this front panel going this way. So now we are going to start from here where our stitch marker is. So I worked here, I worked in this place where my stitch marker is, and I'm going to start right there with my chain. So reattach your yarn and you're going to chain 3. So here where my stitch marker is, in this stitch here, reattach your yarn and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're just going to continue doing the same thing. So I will just go in this first space here, chain space, single crochet, yarn over, incomplete single crochet, yarn over. I have 4 loops on the hook, then pull through all, chain 1, and just continue with the mini bean stitch until the end. Once you get to the end, same pattern like we're doing the back panel, it's just now smaller. Once you get to the end, you'll chain 3, turn your work, continue doing the mini bean until you get back here. I will meet you at the end of row 2 just to show you how to end. It's the same thing. So I get to the end, I'm getting to the end, and this is going to be the last one. So incomplete single crochet, and then an incomplete half double crochet. You have 4 loops and pull through, and yeah, so this is the end of row 2. This was row 1, and you're just going to keep repeating this over and over again until you have the same number of rows like you did on your back panel. And once you're done with that, then we are going to come and do the sleeves. Done with my 2 panels. This is how it's looking like at the moment, and then I went ahead and did one of the sleeves. So here we have our 2 panels already done, as well as my other sleeve. So I want to measure the sleeve here, and I took the measurements around my biceps and then added 4 inches. For me, around my biceps is 9.5 inches. So when I add 4, it becomes 13.5 inches for me. So from one stitch marker to the next is 13.5 inches for me, and this is the middle part. So for the middle part from front panel, that means mine is 6.75 and back panel 6.75, this part and this part. So once you have them together, so the circumference, the sleeve circumference is 13.5 for me. So just measure around your biceps and do that math, and you're going to just consider which one you want to be your right side, because the both sides look alike. So which one looks neater for you, that should be the right side, and the other should be the wrong side. And from this other side I started here, so this is my right side, which means I am going to start on this side. So put your stitch markers and you know where to begin, and we're going to make a single crochet row just to even out the side first before we start on the stitch. All right, so we are going to reattach our yarn where our stitch marker is, and I'll put my yarn in there, reattach, and then we're going to work single crochets. So chain one, and I'm going to work a single crochet in that very same stitch, and we're going to work single crochets evenly across. So put a single crochet in this bean stitch, mini bean stitch here, and then a single crochet in this chain stitch here. That's my third one, and then my fourth one is going to be in between the bean stitch and the chain stitch, so right here. So at the bottom of the bean stitch, and then in the middle of the bean stitch, and then in the chain stitch, and then at the bottom of the bean stitch. And then start again in the bean stitch, in the chain stitch, at the bottom of the bean stitch, and then start again in the bean stitch. So you're just going to do this evenly across. So I'm just working one in the chain space and two in the bean stitch. Okay, one in the chain space and two in the bean stitch, like that, and all the way to the other stitch marker. And once you get to the other stitch marker, then we'll come and start on the mini bean stitch. All right, so I'm done with my single crochets. I came to the end to where my other stitch marker is, and now we're going to start on row 2, which is a row of mini bean stitch, and you're going to chain 3. Then you're going to turn your work, and that very first stitch we are going to skip that stitch, this one here, skip the first stitch, and then go into the second stitch and make a mini bean. And then you're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then into the one after that make a mini bean. It's the same pattern. Chain 1, skip 1, mini bean stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, mini bean stitch. And you're just going to repeat this until you get to the end, and I will meet you at the end. I'm coming to the row, the end of the row, and I have 3, but I only need 2. So what I will do is I'll just make a reduction. So I will work the mini bean stitch in the last 2 to make that reduction, so that you skip 1 and then work the mini bean in the last one. If you have only 2 stitches left, then good for you. If you have 3, then make like a reduction. All right, then chain 3 for the next part, for the next row. And we are just going to skip the first stitch and then work a mini bean in the chain 1 stitch, which is like what we did with the other panels. So you already know this, so you're just going to work this same mini bean pattern, row after row after row, until you have your desired length. Since it is an oversize, I measured from like my biceps to my calf, but also you can try it on and see if you have enough, you know. And I did 14 inches for me, but I'm 155 centimeters tall, so depends on how tall you are. So that's my 14 inches length, and this is before the calf. All right, so I did 14 inches, and if you're tall you can do about 16, 17, you know, depends. And this is how it looks when you have two sleeves. You will go ahead and do the second sleeve. It's the same thing, same number of stitches you should be working, and then you're going to fold your work and it looks like this. And then we are now going to join the sides, so we're going to sew the sides together like that. And yeah, so we are going to sew this on the wrong side, and the sides are the same. Just see which one looks better for you. That will be the right side, and which one you like least, then that's the wrong side. And I'm going to sew this on the wrong side. I'm using a darning needle. If you don't have a darning needle, you can use a slip stitch using your hook, or a single crochet, which is actually faster, but I think this is a bit, the seam is less visible. I don't know, depends on your preference. Use any joining method as long as you have your sides joined. That's what matters. All right, so I'm going to join using my needle, and I think I'm using the mattress stitch. I'm not good with terms or sewing terms, so yeah, I'm just going in and out, in and out, in and out. Whatever method is easy for you, use that. This really doesn't make a big of a difference. We can all join differently and still come out with the same outcome. So I will join this, I will sew this until the underarm, and once I'm at the underarm, then sew the sleeve all the way to the other end. And once I'm done with that, then I will go also to the other side, do the same, and I will meet you when we have both sides sewed together. Then we can do the cuffs and then the ribbing. All right. So everything is now joined. The sides are joined, and I turned this to the right side. This is where I was joining the wrong side. Now I turned it up to the right side. And now we are going to make the cuff right here. So I already did the cuff for this other side. This is how it looks like, and I'm using front post and back post stitches. So we are going to make the cuff on this side. So the cuff, I like to start where I have the seam, where I joined this. So now you're going to reattach your yarn. And then you're going to chain 3, 2, and 3. The chain 3 counts as a stitch. Then you're going to yarn over, and we're going to start with a row of double crochets. So we are going to be working in between these in the chain 1 spaces, in between the mini beans. So in the chain 1 spaces, that's where we are working. So I'll go in this first chain space and make a double crochet like that, yarn over, go into the next chain space between the 2 mini beans and make a double crochet. That's between the second and the third, and then yarn over in between the 1, 2, 3, the third and the fourth, make a double crochet. And I'm just going to go on making double crochets in every chain space until I go all around, and I'll meet you once we are back here. So we are working double crochets. I went all around and I'm coming to the end here. So my last one, I'm putting this between the last pin and the chain 3. So now to close this off, you are going to go on top of this first chain 3 stitch and make a slip stitch like this to close it off. And as you can see, it reduces the circumference because we are not working in every stitch but just in the chain space. So now our cuff is going to be smaller than our sleeve circumference. So you're going to chain 3 for row 2, and this counts as a stitch. So now we're going to begin, our row 2 is where we begin the front post and back post stitches. You're going to yarn over, and your first stitch will be a front post, which means your double crochet is in front of the hook. So you put your hook under the double crochet like that, the previous double crochet, and then make a front post. The front post is just like a double crochet, just worked under, you know, the hook over the behind. Okay, so now we are going to do the back post. So you yarn over again, and now for the back post, you put the double crochet at the back like that. So you put your hook over the next double crochet like that, and then the double crochet post is at the back. So, and then you complete that post just like a double crochet, and then we are just going to be alternating between these two, front post and back post. So now this is a front post, and then yarn over next is a back post like this. So your hook is like over, and the double crochet is like behind. So front post, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then back post from the back like that. So you're going to repeat this all around, and I'll meet you at the end. So I'm coming to the end, and my last stitch is a back post. So to end off row 2, you're going to slip stitch on top of the first chain 3 stitch like that, and that's the end of row 2. And for row 3, you're just going to repeat the same thing, chain 3, and where there's a front post, make a front post, and where you have a back post, you make a back post. Front post, and then back post. Front post, and then back post. And just repeat this until you have enough for your cuff. So this is how it looks like, and as you work more rows, it kind of gets slimmer, but it's stretchy. As you can see, I did about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows, 7 rows of the front post and back post, and it is stretchy. So it's a beautiful stitch and very easy and fast. That's why I like it. I think I use it like 90% of the time, so as my ribbing stitch. So we are done with the sleeves, and now we're going to do the bottom. And my lighting is so bad because I'm using a ring light. I decided to do this at night, but we are going to use the same stitch at the bottom and also on the sides. If you don't want this, you can leave the bottom out, depends on what you like, but yeah, that's what we will be doing. So we are going to start from the bottom, and I'm going to start from this first stitch at the corner of the front panel right here. Insert your hook and reattach your yarn, and then you're going to chain 3. Chain 3 counts as a stitch, and then we're going to work double crochets in every stitch. Okay, so double crochet in every stitch, which means I'm working in every chain 1 and in every on top of every bean stitch. All right, so you're going to work double crochets in every stitch all around until you come back to all around the bottom until you come back to this other corner of the front panel here. So I went all along the bottom and I got to the other side, and now we're going to go to row 2. So for row 2, you're going to chain 3. Chain 3 counts as a stitch, and then you're going to turn your work, and you will not work in that first stitch because that already counts as a stitch. So this last double crochet on the previous row counts as a stitch. So now we're going to make front post and back post starting from this second stitch. So go under that double crochet, the second stitch, and make a front post, and then go over the third double crochet and make a back post. Go under the next stitch, make a front post, and over the third stitch to make a back post. Front post and back post. So you're going to alternate between a front post and back post stitches until you get to the other corner, and then we shall just continue to do that. I'll meet you there at the end just to show you how to complete it, because this is a bit different from when we are working around. So I'm coming to the end of this row, and as you can see, I have my back post, then I have my last front post here, and then the last stitch is always going to be a double crochet. So on top of this chain 3 right here, we are going to make a double crochet on top of that in the third chain there, like this, and that's how you end the row. All right, with a double crochet on top of that chain 3. And now to start, we start with the chain 3. So in 3, turn your work, and you skip this last double crochet on the previous row and just go into this next stitch. For me, it was a back post, so I will go ahead and do, on the other side it was a front post, but now it looks like a back post when you turn your work. So you go ahead and do it like a back post, and then this now looks like a front post, so I will do a front post, and then this I will do a back post, front post, and then back post, front post. So this looks like a front post, you do a front post. What looks like a back post, you do a back post. So you're just going to, keep repeating that. And when you get to the end, you end it like we did here with a single crochet, a double crochet, and then chain 3, start again. So it starts with a chain 3. Every row starts with a chain 3 and ends with a double crochet. Starts with a chain 3 and ends with a double crochet. All right, you're going to do as many rows as you like for your border, and then we'll come and do the front ribbings. So I finished my bottom border, and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of the front post and back post stitches. So now we are going to work along the front for that ribbing. I didn't cut off my yarn, so what we're going to do is, before that, let me just explain. We're going to be working in these posts here. You see what we have here? this is where we will be working our first row in these posts right here. This is at the bottom. Also, when we get to the mini bean stitch, we will still be working in these posts. This is where we'll be putting our front posts and back posts right there. Okay, so you're going to chain 3 to start, and we are going to go straight into the front post and back post. So chain 3 counts as a stitch. So now I'm going to go under this next post like this and make my back post in this first stitch, and then yarn over and then go into the post of the next row or stitch and make my back post, and then yarn over and go into the next post of the next stitch and make a front post, and then into the post of the next stitch like that and make a back post, and just keep alternating like this between front post and back post. So at the start I just have about the first stitch, which is the chain stitch, and then 1 2 3 4 5 6 stitches, and then this is going to be my last one, which is at the bottom of the beanie stitch pattern. And now we start working these posts into these beanie stitch rows. So now my next is a back post, so I go, you know, in this post behind this beanie stitch and make a back post, and then next stitch on this post here, front post, and then back post. So I'm working along the front panel, the edge of the front panel. So it's more like working the post, which is like the top of the stitch. Okay, at the top of every stitch you see that post. That's where we are alternating with the front posts and then the back posts. If this is complicated for you, you can just work like a double crochet row first and even out your stitches, and then come do the front post and back post. So I'm going to work this in every post until the top. So I worked from bottom all the way to the top, and now we are at the neckline. So for the neckline we are going to do first this row of double crochets just to define the stitches first, because they are just one stitches. So I'm just going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch. That includes also the chain 1 stitch like this, 1 double crochet in every stitch. And you're going to do it until you get back here, then you go back to the pattern that we were doing before. So at the top here, double crochets first, and then we go back to the front post and back post. So I went from down here all the way up, did double crochets up here, and then the front post back post as all the way down. And once you get to the bottom, we're just going to repeat what we're doing on the bottom ribbing. So you end with a double crochet, then start with a chain 3 and end with a double crochet on this other side on top of your chain 3, and you're just going to repeat front post back post, front post back post, all the way up and down until you have your desired width of your ribbing, and then yeah, that will be it. So as you can see, I have my finished cardigan. I sewed it in all the ends, and I did 7 rows of the front post and back post stitches. So you can go bigger or smaller, depends on your preference. Then I went ahead and did single crochet rows at the bottom of this because it wasn't looking so nice because of the chain. But yeah, so from here to here I did single crochets, so you can do that as well just to clean it up. And yeah, that's our cardigan. So thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate for spending your time here. So if you like the tutorial, then give this video a thumbs up or share to your groups. And if you like a written pattern, then visit my online shops, SC Crochets on Etsy as well as on yancy.com. I will leave the links in the description box. And yeah, I will see you in the next tutorial. So thank you so much, and tag me on social media. It's SC Crochets. Bye.